So I've been getting a lot of requests on the comments on the podcast that people would love to have a live show that they can interact with us. Matteo, what are our fans called?
The bots.
That's right. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to do the Inkpulp Botcast. Oh, yeah.
No, that sucks.
And it's going to be on December 27th. At 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have a live podcast that all of our bots can interact with us on, and maybe we'll have some special guests pop in. When it comes to painting, I don't plan my palettes.
I can tell.
You could almost hear the kettle in the background when you said that. You can hear it boiling so quickly with Matteo. Just
you can hear my breathing getting heavier.
I saw his headphones puff out for a quick second and release the steam. This is the Inkpulp Podcast. Oh, now I can. Oh, you guys are fucking with me. You had me on mute? Is that what you're doing?
No, we didn't have you on anything, buddy.
Well, how come I can hear you after you hit record? Fuck you guys. This is off to a wonderful start. You guys have a good show. I'm out of here.
This is your show, baby. We're only here for you.
Yeah.
No.
I thought about that the other day. If it wasn't you instigating these kinds of conversations and basically opening the front door to everything that we do on a weekly basis, I'm going to get this thing off my chin. We're live.
Yeah.
Ow, that hurts so much.
What's up? What was that?
What happened?
I nicked myself shaving.
Oh, shaving. Okay.
Because I'm a child. I've got no blade control.
So you have some.
That's why you just need to
facial
join
hair.
the club.
It doesn't grow very well, but I have some, yeah.
He just has that one. He has to shave that one.
Yeah, it's the two, and they compete every time. You know? Have you seen those guys? And I don't know if it's fake, but sometimes a hair grows and it just crawls under the skin. And when they finally extract it, it's like a small jungle.
I've had that happen. I mean,
have you really?
Maybe it was this long.
Ugh, grown-ups. All right, what are we doing? Here's what I was saying.
Yes.
I know we give you a hard time every time that we're streaming. It's almost like a given. But I want to say this. We would not be here hanging out and having one hell of a time if it wasn't for you opening the door and saying, hey, come on in and hang out with me. I think when you did that, you had a different picture in your mind, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have asked this of you. I felt like it would have been too much of an ask, but I love the idea of you guys doing this with me all the time.
Yeah.
And then every time,
I'm trying to think.
Every Wednesday, you change your mind for some reason.
Yeah, now I regret every second of it.
I keep doing this.
Shawn's like, do I hate myself this much? I invite this into my life every Wednesday. Speaking of every Wednesday, it's not Wednesday. It is actually a Monday, October 9th, because the both of you what is it? What's going on this week that you had to bump this thing a couple days?
Go ahead, Matteo. Lay it on
a Renaissance fair, right, Shawn?
Yeah, that's right. They wanted the Fratelli brothers to dress up as court jesters and prance around the Renaissance fair.
Says it.
No, sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
Blip this out.
I almost lost my Gatorade.
Otherwise, we're going to be demonetized. So we won't be making the usual $200,000, $300,000 an episode.
Actually, I looked yesterday. Do you know what we're at? Do you know how much we're at right now? How much money we've made?
Wait, hold on. Let me guess.
Blip it. Jamie, blip it. Okay. I'll guess it.
Right? More than.
Don't keep saying it, otherwise Jamie will have to bleep bleep more than bleep. We'll substitute it with $3 million every time. So Jamie, record my voice, $3 million, and then you'll switch it with it every time.
We've made
$3 million.
People.
Hey.
Awesome.
That's $11 of something I could buy.
Yeah, except we don't get that money until we hit 100. That's when they do their deposit. So
shit.
In YouTube limbo.
So in a couple of years, we'll be able to get those.
Yeah.
Those $100.
I'll
leave it in my will that the YouTube money should go to YouTube.
What's surprising is that we're monetized. I had forgotten, and even more impressive is the fact that in whatever capacity we're making money off of this stupid conversation, even if it's as lucrative as $33 at a time. All right, seriously, why are we doing this talk a couple of days early?
Oh, wait a second. Sorry to interrupt, Eric. So $3 million per episode, or all together?
No,
total.
Total. Okay,
but but. I think it's gonna pick up more and more. We grew a lot last week. Something about last week, we gained a lot of growth.
Yeah, Eric wasn't there.
All right.
Oh, that's right. No. That one was when I wasn't there. That was the episode where I wasn't there. So fuck
God.
You.
I didn't want to be the one to say it. All right, seriously, why are we here? Why are we here a couple of days early? This is genuinely annoying to me.
Because, Shawn, you want to go or I go?
No. You go ahead.
We gonna go to New York Comic Con. Woohoo!
I want that song as the new intro song.
So
that's the bumper right there.
I'll be leaving on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. My flight is at 4 p.m. And Shawn, are you going to be leaving on Wednesday?
Early Wednesday morning. What time do you get in on Wednesday?
No, I'll be arriving in on Tuesday night / evening.
Oh, okay.
Because
so
I gain time when I
fly
fly from Italy to the States. So
that's right.
Do you have on a layover? The way back, I lose one day. What?
Right. Do you have a layover on your flight, or is it direct?
No, it's direct. When I fly to New York, I am always on the same flight, which is a Emirates flight, which is beautiful,
fancy,
beautiful.
Yeah,
flight.
What are you going to do with the baby? How are you going to handle this long air trip with the baby?
I don't know, honestly, because so far he's done 2 trips with us on a plane, but they both were like around 2 hours, not more than that.
Oh, it's a bit different.
Yeah. Plus, he wasn't 2 yet, so basically, he didn't have a seat, so he would just, sit on our lap. And in this case, he has his own seat, but like we're going with a friend on Francesca, so it's the 4 of us. So we have the entire central lane, so we're not gonna bother anybody else. So he's gonna be able to.
That's good. You're gonna be taking turns walking Elia up and down the plane aisles. I remember doing that.
Yeah, probably. But at the same time, we have an iPad with stuff, with cartoons and stuff.
Right. Just numb them out.
Yeah, and all those flights, there's a nice, pretty wide screen, even in economy.
Yeah.
There's a wide screen with games for kids and stuff like that. So we should be fine, especially because we don't let him watch TV a lot or use that kind of devices. So it's gonna be
you're gonna ruin him.
He's not used to that, so probably they're gonna distract him a lot. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, and you're gonna ruin him. I'm gonna see him all week long with these dilated pupils. Just like
we also bought a thing, which is basically I don't know what to call it. It's basically a thing that you inflate and you put it in front of the chair, so his chair becomes a kind of bed. So it functions as a pillow for him. So he's going to be able to use the whole space in front of him. So hopefully, Plus, we got like melatonin drops, so that's we're gonna be using that when it's too much.
Can I tell you, Eric, I have that same exact airbed thing. It works fucking perfect, dude. It fits me like a glove.
Oh, really?
It's made for little people, and it suits me so well.
It's actually made for adult Filipino men, but it just happens to work.
And they just transferred it to little children.
Or European kids. Yeah.
They grow them big in Europe, man. All right, Shawn, what are we talking about? This is your show. You come up with something.
If we don't have anything, I have a couple of things.
Yeah, go for it, Matteo.
Shawn, no, hold on. No. Don't bail him out. Okay. Shawn, go. Come up with something.
You don't want to go where I want to go. There's no black and white today. We're not going black and white. We're not doing it. We're not doing it.
Jesus.
By the way, Shawn, I saw that you're pretty booked up with commissions for New York, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, that's what I've been busy. Awesome. What did you... Thank you. Was that the spreadsheet you saw it on?
No, I saw you on Instagram that you just said you recently posted something about having only 2 spots remaining. So it led me to think that you were pretty booked up.
Yeah, but I mean, I took on a handful of painted commissions to do before the show, but because I was so far behind on everything, I've got them to a place where I'll finish them at the show. But I have like on top of those, like I have to use some of the show time to finish that, and then I've got like I think 3 more commissions on top of that I'll do at the show, and I'll take one more, but that's about it. But yeah,
gotcha. So you're gonna be bringing your painting tools at the show?
Yeah, just my opaques. Like I did all the transparent work, so I'll just be doing the opaques at the show.
Gotcha.
Which is fun. The opaques are like the fun part.
Awesome.
And I'm doing and then I have a 4th painting I'm doing for the Whatnot show that Jason's going to run at New York Comic Con. So I'm going to do a painting for that too.
All right. Yeah. What's that about? Can we talk about it? Well, I mean,
in fact, I wanted to talk to you about it.
Coming up after New York, so. But
yeah, but we could. But the thing is, I mean, I do Whatnot shows all the time, and we'll be doing more of these at cons in the future. But so Whatnot is like a live auction app, and it's very popular in the comic book collector community, and the comic art community has started really getting into it too. So what you do is you do a piece of art that you'll finish on the show, and people watch it as you're doing it. And then when you're ready to run the auction, you can run it from anywhere from like 30 seconds to 5 minutes, and people bid on it as you're working on it, finishing it. And then I also like to make sure I have like a giveaway item, and then I'll probably have like a piece of art that we'll auction off too or something just to make some extra money. But Sam, Jason's brother, is organizing the Whatnot shows. So he put my show up like it's scheduled and you can see it, but he asked me, and I wanted to ask you, what do you think about doing it together? Because he said these shows at cons do better when it's more than one person. So he asked about doing a Fratelli Brothers Whatnot show at the con, if you're going to be doing anything for the Whatnot show.
For this show, like now?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, like it'll be on Saturday.
Okay. Well, depending on the time, because on Saturday I have a couple of things, because Rick Remender is going to be there with his giant generator booth and everything. So there's a few panels and signing sessions with him. And on Saturday, I think we have a panel all together with all the artists that have been.
Do you know what time?
I think it's from noon to 1 is the panel, and then signing from 1 to 2.
Okay, the Whatnot show is at 2:05.
2:05. Okay, I gotta check on my schedule, but if I have time, I'll be happy to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Yeah. All right, but
and by the way, Whatnot, isn't it massive as well?
That's who Whatnot. Yeah, Whatnot was doing so well with their comic book stuff. They created a publishing division, and that's what Massive is, I believe.
And those are the guys who are working with Sean Murphy right now on his Zorro book. So, which by the way,
his plot holes too.
Yeah, they just started a campaign, and it's doing really well so far. So I'm
What's
really
it at
curious
right
to
now?
see.
Do you know? Yesterday it was at 170.
Yeah, probably in between 170 and 200K. So it's pretty good. Okay. We'll see what happens, during the 28 days. What I don't remember how long.
So wait, Rick's going to be at New York Comic Con?
Yeah, he's going to be bringing all the stuff. He has a lot of new stuff. And
I had no idea he was going even.
Yeah. He's going, and is well organized. He's gonna be having a full, because now is I don't know what the correct words are, but I think he signed a contract with Image Comics, so that he has his own thing, which is like giant generator. Yeah, more or less like Skybound, and so I think he wants to. This New York Comic Con is gonna be the inauguration of this whole operation, I think.
Oh, okay. Is his booth going to be on the main floor or in Artist Alley?
I think he's going to be in the Artist Alley.
Oh,
but he might be having more than one table, probably. So maybe he has more tables. I don't know. We'll see once we're there. But yeah, I'm happy for him. Cool. I'm happy to see him back, doing shows.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Like that.
I haven't seen Rick. I mean, it's got to be 6-7 years at this point, probably.
Well, yeah, it's been a long time, because between his dad getting sick and then COVID, like, he disappeared for a while. So. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but he's doing fine now. He's doing way better now. So I'm happy to see him.
All right, cool. So what do you want to talk about? You said you had something you want to talk about.
Nothing special. I just actually, like, I was thinking as I was about to say it, I was like, this is nothing, so I don't even know if it's worth talking about it. But I was,
because I do have something we can talk about. It's a craft technical thing, but go ahead.
Okay. No, let's do yours, and in case there's time left.
All right, I want to talk about this the Daredevil Punisher Kingpin painting you did.
Oh yeah.
First off, what was the size on that? The thing is huge, right?
It's a 22 by 17. It's basically two 11 by 17 connected.
Okay. Oh wow, that's huge. And if you can do me a favor, let's get Jamie. Do you have a scan of it, right?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah. I can send it to
let's
Jamie.
Get Jamie that scan so he can pop it up. So my question is this: I like, because your painting technique is similar to mine in that we work our values out first, and then you tone it with washes on top.
Yeah.
But you tend to keep it very simple, like one or two colors. Is that correct? Usually you just keep it around those one or two colors.
Well, yeah, especially because I'm not a painter. So so far, I'm not really able to handle like really complicated color schemes. So I gotta stay simple and just, do and learn as I do. So that's my...
So do you want to start like playing with more
Shawn,
color?
Hold on.
Yeah.
What makes you think that because you're not a real painter, you've limited yourself to like, it's a weird thing to think about, because I hear something like that and I go like, well, painters actively choose to only limit their color palette.
Yeah.
Do you think by being a quote unquote real painter, you have to have a more sophisticated, more complex color palette?
No, it doesn't. It's not sophisticated or complex. It's a matter of a painter, like a real painter, is going to be able to handle whatever is in front of them. While for me, I still have a really graphic kind of, I was about to say behavior, because I for lack of better words.
Approach. Let's say
approach. Yeah. Thank you. So I tend to go simpler because I wouldn't be able to handle but for example, last year I did a Spider-Man painting, and it was Spider-Man flying, amongst.
That's the one Ollie got, right?
I think, yeah, probably. Yeah, that's the one.
That was a beautiful painting.
Oh, thanks, man. But in that case, I had to apply real painter's process, So I needed to decide what color the sky is going to be, and then that color is going to be affecting all the buildings, and I'm going to be starting from really saturated colors on, up front, and then go mixing the color of the buildings as we were moving towards the sky, mixing it with the color of the sky. I mean, it was really a technical thing. That's why I asked Elia Bonetti to help me with that, because he's an actual, painter. So he knows this kind of processes.
Elia's,
So, but in general, for me, it's really hard when I have to do, I have to do an approach like that, because it's not in me. I don't have the kind of academic preparation for painting, so I go more.
Sure.
Usually, I'm guided just by taste, and I try out stuff, And before, when I colored digitally, I would just go, natural, like flats. Like I would just go normal with the flats, and then start playing around with filters and different layers, different layer properties, and then play around and see what would happen, and then judge based by taste more than anything else, more than actual theory behind it. Whilst, for example, if you look at, if you had the pleasure to watch Andrew Robinson painting, he has an actual academic base behind what he does. So you can see all the layers and all the stuff that he adds. And it's, that's clearly different from what I do. I don't have that kind of experience and that kind of confidence yet. So I have to go step by step. That's why, for example, for this one, that was really big painting. The first time I would paint something that big, I would just do something digital first, just to make sure that everything worked. And that's why I didn't use.
So you did a digital study?
Yeah. And that's why I didn't use the usual, normally I do just a base with transparent, and then I just go over it with solid. In this case, I already knew the color scheme that I wanted to use, so I went straight with that. And, using some kind of trick here and there, so that the difference between colors wasn't too abrupt. So I would just, when I needed a red to be a little darker, instead of using black, I would use the green that is in the other elements, so that in the end you have this kind of exchange between colors,
Right. See, what I want to get back to what Eric was saying and build on where I was going with this. You initially said you limit yourself to a graphic limited color palette because you're not a good painter, but I think there's, like Eric was saying, like someone like Robert McGinnis, some of his paintings were 1 color, 2 color paintings.
Yeah, but the difference that he went through everything, and then that's a choice. Yeah. For me, what I'm saying is that it's not a real choice. It's kind of, I have to do it right now because I'm not able to handle all the different type of languages. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So then that leads me
to me, it feels like I have to do it instead of I'm choosing to.
I got you. Say,
the difference is you didn't waste your fucking time like Robert McGinnis did. You got to the good stuff right away. You said, fuck that guy and his years of experience. I'm going to go straight to what good looks like. That's how I see it, Matty,
Yeah.
So I still don't think it's the healthiest of approaches, but thank you.
All right. I'm just saying. I'm in your corner.
What's interesting is every time we talk about whenever you start a new comic, you just try something new. Like balls of steel, confidence, no problem. I'm going to try a new tool and figure it out in the book.
Yeah,
but that's his analogy here.
No, it goes back to his exact analogy, what he's talking about right now. He can only do all the level of confidence experimentation he's doing because he's had the experience of being able to pull from to get to this space. So it's the Robert McGinnis analogy, right? Like he would never start off in a space of like wide openness and like whatever, you know, so experimentation if he didn't have the previous experience of 15 plus years of a career.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to see you
Shawn.
Dive in. Just dive in. Just grow a pair and dive in, Matteo. Stop being a bitch. No, but that's the question I was leading to, and maybe this is still applicable, was like you stop at a point where I feel like if I was doing it, like you don't do any highlight work. Like you have your midtones and your shadows, but you don't like work any opaques on top of it to light up certain areas.
Yeah, it really depends. It really depends on the occasion. If I see that it might work and I might learn something new, I would do it. If I see that it's working already and it doesn't need to, since I don't have the experience of saying, all right, in case it doesn't work, I can go back 1,000 times and it doesn't matter because I know the tools and I know how to do it, which would happen if I was inking, for example. If it was just a comic book page, I'll have, you know, various different ways to go back and correct and whatever. And in the case, I don't have that kind of tools. So once I see that I'm kind of close to what I like and I feel that I might ruin it, usually I stop and I don't take chance. And that's the attitude that I have right now because I don't have that kind of experience behind, you know, my back.
So how do you get past that attitude? Are you going to do like experiments?
I got to keep doing it and understand. And it takes a lot of time. Probably I should like, you know, go to some sort of class or follow something on whatever on YouTube or stuff like that, just to understand and talk to other artists. You know, it's a long process and it's really complicated. So it's not something that's going to happen soon, I think. I gotta be, you know, I gotta focus on that and dedicate a lot of time to it. But yeah, the only thing that I would say that I'm learning when I do this kind of thing is that I'm realizing that the more I study something and I spend time studying it, I don't know, my stuff, the way I work, I feel that I lose something. So I'm really happy about the whole, you know, the final results, but I still feel that I'm losing something because I'm realizing that I need to have some kind of instinctuality to my work.
Yeah.
And if I can't obtain that, it's really hard for me to be completely satisfied with what I do, if it makes sense. How about you guys? Do you experience that, or in general you like when everything's under control? Or
wait, I don't even understand what you were talking about. You were saying because that you are deliberate in your decision making, or like you are I don't quite like you're inexperienced in your decision. What does that mean?
Well, because sometimes you know you start studying a piece. And you feel like you have it already, and you immediately like, okay, I got it. Okay, let's start working on it, and fuck it. And most of the time, that at the end, I'm happy. But there's a part of me who's like, you know what? If I spend more time on it, probably I will get to something better. And when I do, like I did for this piece, when I made sure that everything was working. So I put everything on Photoshop and tried all the possible compositions. I share them with you, and you helped me out with that. So at the end, everything works, and I'm happy. But I feel that I've lost that, you know, instinctive.
Yeah,
approach,
so what I'm hearing, tell me if I'm wrong here. What I'm hearing is if you plan too much, you don't have room to improvise. And when you feel like your work is at its best when there's some improvisational
I'm kind of realizing that, and maybe it's just me seeing this, and people from, you know, from outside don't see that, and maybe they prefer the more refined and studied version of my stuff. But to me, in general, the stuff that I'm the most happy about, I remember when we did the podcast with Richard Friend, we were talking about my pirate piece. Yeah, it was done like super quick, and you know, to this day, I'm really happy when that happens. You know, instead of more like I can pat myself on the back if I spend a lot of time on a thing and I stayed there and I forced myself to stay there. It's a nice mental exercise, so I still can find a positive thing behind it. But in the end, where you talk about final results and being in the zone, it doesn't give me that thrill that other situations.
I understand what you're saying.
You know. So
talk on that for a little, Shawn. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there are some artists who work completely like raw improvisational. Like they can just, like someone like Bill Sienkiewicz, I think of like this. Like Bill can just sit down and throw something out, and Jim does this too. Yeah. And it just is like it comes out like all the energy and the decision making is there. And then there's other artists, like let's say Art Adams, who I'd imagine plans everything perfectly and executes. And I don't think one is better than the other. I'm a fan of both. But there was always a part of me that wished I could have some of that just throw it down way of doing things. But
there's
whenever
a part of you that wishes this?
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's whenever I do that, I feel like I don't have the skill set to work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think it has to do with the way I'm wired and the way I think and the way I live is like I'm methodical.
Mm-hmm.
So my work is. But when it comes to painting, I don't plan my palettes.
I can tell.
I plan my thumbnails, and I know my focal and I know my
Sorry, I do it.
And, it's a good shot. It was clean shot. I took it. But
you could
I plan my
compositions. You could almost hear the kettle in the background when you like said that. You can hear it boiling so quickly with Matteo. Just
you can hear like my breathing getting heavier. Like
I saw his headphones like puff out for a quick second and release the steam. Jamie, can you do that? I think that's asking too much.
Sorry, Shawn.
Sorry to interrupt, man.
No, it's fine. I plan the composition and I plan the focal point, but what I don't plan is the palette. And I've learned, and I've really enjoyed that because as I'm painting it, I always say like I call it listening to the painting. It kind of, as I'm working on it and thinking about it, it starts to inform me of what it needs. And that's what I do. All right,
you
Eric,
heard
go
it,
ahead.
right? I'm listening to the painting.
You almost sounded like me at a certain point.
How did I sound like you?
Yeah, because it's just there. That's what I do, you know? It's, you know.
Exactly.
Those kind of
Come
phrases.
On, Eric. Come on.
Oh, and by the way, can I talk about... Sorry, can I talk about this thing? Since we in the podcast with Richard Friend, we quoted my pirate piece. I want to quote one of your pieces, Shawn, that to this day is, I think, I don't know, it's something special. And I told you about this a few years ago, which is it was a Mr. Freeze that you did.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, you know that. Okay,
go ahead.
If you can find the file, give it to Jamie because I want people to see it. And I told you, I remember telling you that, like, man, remember, like, this piece, I think this should be your standard from now on because this is another level.
Here.
You know, that it was something special. it was something special. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. No, I was going to say that piece came out of a conversation I had with Eric. I did a series
of Batman villains and the series of Spider-Man villains based on a conversation I had with Eric about only rendering in the areas where I want the eye to rest and not in the other areas. So I took that idea to the extreme, so that like Mr. Freeze, I rendered the hell out of like the helmet, the face, and all the smoke. And as you got, like, the feet were just an outline. They were just white. Yeah. So that came out of a conversation with Eric.
Do you remember the state of mind you were when you were working on it? Did you feel like something different as you were working on it?
I felt like it was one of those pieces where my intention, I was achieving like what I wanted. Like my intention was actually coming forth fully in that piece. And there was something about that. I remember I got a lot of, like, even like, I remember Cameron Stewart DM'd me about that piece, and you said something about that piece. But yeah, I don't like, I think I tried to capture it too much after doing it, but there was just like I can't just do that. I just got to keep trying to do it, my thing, and hopefully it comes out good. But yeah, so are you saying that since that piece I have failed you, Matteo? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. It's just it's exactly
that.
No, it's exactly the thing that I was saying about the pirates. Like, it happened to me in that moment, but
yeah.
It happened a few times after that, but it doesn't happen every day to me. And I think that it's, you know.
I agree. It's like it's capturing lightning in a bottle. It's where everything just kind of lines up. I think like a good artist, like you aim to hit that every time, but if you come close consistently, you're doing great. And I think you do that, Matteo. I think, like, yeah, I see what you're saying about that guy, but about the carnival piece, but you aim to hit that and you come very close a lot. So I think your batting average is solid.
Thanks, man. How about you, Eric?
Eric,
do you ever find yourself in a special zone or something? Or is there any piece that you remember particularly?
No. Yeah,
it's
an interesting question. Yeah, I love looking at my own stuff. No, it's an interesting question to go like, hey, was there ever a state of, you asked it to Shawn just a second ago, do you remember the state of mind that you were in when you were doing that amazing piece? I was like, man, and you referred to it within that pirate work. You were like, oh, I remember being in a really good place, and just that thing just came out very naturally. I don't ever think I've ever made that level of self-reflection when I'm drawing on a piece. It's because, I don't know, it just doesn't dawn on me to like take a moment to go like, is this piece feeling good? I know when it's feeling bad, which is a different concept, right? I know when it's off, but there's never a point where I go like, yo, this is an elevated, heightened state of where I'm drawing. So those are two different muscles that are flexing.
Yeah.
Right?
The feeling that I have with you, Eric, and it's not to blow smoke up your ass, it's genuine, is that, like, I've always had the feeling that most of the time you're in there, it's really natural for you to be there, so you don't notice.
I agree.
Because I can see like the way you even working at shows, the way you still work on details, and the pleasure that you have even in working on small little details and stuff, the technology parts on characters, the way you work every time on the costume. Even if somebody asks you for a tour, you're gonna be making your tour with a specific, I don't know, bracelet or whatever, specific pieces of armor and stuff like that. So the feeling that I have, that I've always had about you, is that, but might be wrong. I don't know.
I think you said something very interesting there, which is not necessarily that I mean, I don't know if I've given enough thought to agree that I'm always in that space of just like a level of elation. But I do try to find areas, and I don't know if it's similar for you guys. I do find areas where I have a lot of joy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's so many times when I see people struggle through a piece, and I don't know if they're having fun doing it. So to your point, you were like, dude, there's the Thor bracelet that I could just tell that you were having fun doing. Yeah. That's probably genuine, right? Where I go like, where can I have fun doing the thing that I really love doing, which is not just the drawing part, but the thinking part, right? Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people who are just go into the execution space. Yeah. And I go like, are you having fun drawing? And
they're just, like, I don't know if this word exists in English, but it's evacuated. Like you have to take a shit. Like I'm doing a drawing just to get rid of this drawing that I have to do, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. You know, it's funny you guys you landed there, because I think that's what happened to me. That's like when I was my last few years of working for Marvel and DC, that's how I felt. I mean, I just felt like it was like I was just
you were joyless,
trying to get it over with. Yeah, I was just trying to get the job done, get it over with. Like, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for why I was feeling that, but stepping away from that work for hire stuff allowed me to refine and recenter so that I wasn't in that headspace anymore. It's not a good place to be.
Yeah.
How about you, Eric? Did you I've always meant to ask you, but every time I forget. Like, do you feel anxiety as you work? Talking about comics, specific, working in comic books. Have you ever felt like, oh my God, I'm not drawing for the pleasure of drawing, but I'm drawing because I have to finish what I'm doing, and that's it. So I feeling anxiety because I want to finish.
Yeah, I would say so, but that's only because I was very irresponsible. The drawing in and of itself was like, I understood it as a job. Right. At some point, and I don't know if it's the same for the both of you, but you're in a position now. I mean, the both of you guys have worked on pretty amazing titles, So there were only a few occasions in which my motivation made it feel like it wasn't a job. Yeah. Right. So like my just overall momentum, motivation, and just outlook didn't make it feel like a job. But at some point, I crossed away from the fantasy of becoming a professional comic book artist, and then started to become actually a comic book artist and realizing, oh, this is a job, right? And it's not, that has nothing to do with like the subject matter that I was drawing, all the people that I worked with. It's got a lot more to do with, I was like, oh, this is not the enjoyable fantasy or the picture that I had in my head. This is work, Yeah. And I think that's why I had to come up with a mechanism to allow me to go and find joy again that wasn't work related. So one, to answer your question, the only reason I felt anxiety is because I put myself in a tough situation where I didn't schedule it well. Like you guys are very regimented. But for me, I was like, I'll wait until the last second and I'll do whatever the heck it is. And if you think that the headspace that I was in about thinking about drawing comic books for a job was a job, imagine how it felt when I'm behind on a deadline. It really felt like a job. Where I wasn't concerned about anything else except for just getting the pages done. And it's not to say, that's independent of whether or not I think the pages were good or bad. It was just like, oh, this is work, and a lot of people, I think back on that time now, and I'm like, I was very selfish. A lot of people would have loved to have that opportunity to draw that thing that I did, but they, instead they got me. They should have given it to somebody who really, really enjoyed it. Like I'm looking at the Mr. Freeze pages. Who's the colorist on Mr. Freeze?
Dave Stewart, the great.
There's nothing to be said about Dave Stewart in as far as celebrating that guy's career, his body of work, and everything that he does to contribute to a series. Right. Yeah. In my opinion, and this is not to diminish Dave Stewart, there's a lot more I'm more intrigued in looking at the Mr. Freeze stuff when it's in black and white.
Yep. That's why I asked, I actually asked DC to sell me the license to do it like an artist edition, like a special thing with it.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't let me.
And this goes back to what you're saying, which is like, do I ever feel like whenever I see your guys' work, I feel like there's well, Shawn, it's built in because I know Shawn as a person. I'm like, that guy's just anxious all the time and it's showing up in his art. But then I look at Mr. Freeze, and as much grief as I give this book, Like I can tell that you're trying something with this book, and I think the thing that you were trying, like the energy that you were trying to capture, or at least the omission that the exercise of omission that you're trying to do is somewhat diminished when it's in color. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Because color had a tendency to fill in the things that you were actively leaving out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why those kind of pages, sorry to interrupt, but this is very important.
Yeah.
Those kind of pages, the color on them works as long as it doesn't even seem like color. Like that's why I remember there's Dave colored one of a book by Shawn Murphy. It was I think an American Vampire book, and all the colors that he used were totally desaturated. So they were basically all grays, and just just a small difference between one and another. So it was basically all grays, which basically would be like having no color at all. So it was almost like being, okay, this is a black and white book, clearly. The color doesn't even, it's just a small side to it, So.
Yeah.
So,
I'm looking at a lot of the pages on I'm looking at a lot of pages online now, either the ones that have been bought or formerly on our art dealer's website. And I'm like, fuck, man. If I had seen Mr. Freeze like this was my first experience seeing the book as opposed to the colored version, because I think that's why the guys were reacting to it so positively when they were talking about it offline, when they were like, yo, have you seen Matteo's Mr. Freeze book? And I go, no, is it really cool? And they're like, oh yeah, they hyped it up, right? Yep. There's a lot of bullshit, but they hyped it up, And I was like, let's take a look at this Mr. Freeze book. And I saw the printed version of it. And I was like, I don't get it, But revisiting it now, seeing it in black and white. And again, it's like, I know I say things like, I don't want to diminish Dave Stewart's work, but by saying this, it almost, preemptively diminishes work.
Yeah.
I have such a high level of respect
but it's not
for
Dave
that guy's
Stewart.
body of
It's
work.
what color does to a page that's meant to be black and white. So it's not
a part of me almost,
it could be anyone, and the result would be more or less the same.
As a matter of fact, if it was anybody else but Dave Stewart, it would probably ruin it more. You know what I mean? Like it would probably go down a place with like overcompensation. So I think Dave knows how to do his job. And if somebody's going to reach out to him and say, hey, you want to color Mr. Freeze? He's not going to be like, no, it's better in black and white. He's going to be like, yeah, no, I'll color Mr. Freeze.
Especially because I specifically ask to have him color it, because I know how good he is with, pure black and white. Look at, Hellboy and all the stuff.
Right. And that's what I wanted to ask you. So Eric, do you have that feeling when you see Hellboy, like it should just be in black and white?
There are times when I see like Mignola's pages, right? And like Wolves of St. August. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, man, this thing is so good. And I know the value that Dave brings to the table, but it's so complete already, it's as an experience, as a tone, as a storytelling vehicle. Hellboy is so strong already. It's like, hey, why don't we color, Sin City while we're at it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
absolutely.
Don't do that.
And by the way,
again, this book should.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say this book it's unfortunate that whomever it is that's the people in charge can't see how powerful this book is visually and as a storytelling vehicle, as a narrative, to just leave it in black and white. Somebody over there, if they had a real art director, when this was being published, should have said like, we should just leave this alone.
Yeah, but it was part of a series of one shots. So of course you can't have the other books were in colors. So you even if they wanted to, they couldn't. It's
yes, they could.
Oh, and by the way,
if
just
to
be
company.
clear, I know I was trying, as you said, there's a specific language that I was trying to explore. So I know that there's in some pages I've kind of succeeded, at least for what my intentions were. And in other ones, I didn't have the solution at that moment. So I tried with what I knew, doing a mix of what I knew, and I tried to mix it up with something that I had in my head, and it didn't work out. So there's specific moments, and I can point out which one they are. And I could tell, okay, here, if I could do it again, I would choose a different solution because that wasn't the proper one. But other than that, I also wanted to say, Shawn, do you think that in a few months, Eric will end up loving Mr. Freeze?
I think we're heading there. I think in a few months, Eric's gonna.
He's starting to
Mr.
get to
Freeze.
him.
He's gonna hang a Mr. Freeze page in his studio to look at every day, right above him.
I'm just sorry that you won't be attending New York Comic Con because I'll be having some of the originals there. So maybe that would
Eric
be
could have bought one.
I'm also sorry, I guess.
Finally fall in love with that book.
Maybe I should buy Eric a page.
Yeah, maybe.
And send it to him.
You know what this whole thing seems like? You know when you were a kid and you liked, like in middle school, and you really like a girl? So the first thing you do, instead of just going there and, tell her that you like her, you just pick on her and start being a fucking shitty asshole to her. That's why probably.
Is that what this is? Me
yeah, now we're in high school and you're just telling me, when I was a dick to you, actually I liked you.
So Eric thought Mr. Freeze was just so beyond brilliant. He was like, I can't take this. Fuck Matteo. I hate that book.
That's it. That's how I felt in my heart.
Oh, by the way, I've been meaning to ask you another thing. We've already spoken about it in the past, and I thought it was really interesting. So I want to bring it up now since we're going deep. So I remember, Eric, I remember you. I remember you telling me times ago, a few years ago, that you need to draw. Like, even if you go on vacation, you have to find a moment to draw. And if you can't, you'll maybe this thing has changed since you have kids. But back then, I remember you clearly telling me that you kind of feel sick if you don't draw for a while. So is that still, things still the same way, or they've changed since you have kids? And also I wanted to ask Shawn the same thing. Probably spoke about
Who is this?
What?
Who is that right there?
That's me.
That is like me. I took AI and I combined the two of you.
It's the Fratelli bro as one.
I swear to God, I'm looking at the image and I'm looking at the both of you in the window below it, and I'm like, what the fuck? Somebody's fucking with me right now. Just put on a obnoxious pair of glasses on this guy.
That was a few months before giving up on my hair. The last two hair on my head.
All right. What was your question? Do I still need to draw? Yeah, 100%. It's it happened just as recently as yesterday. I am making. By the way, I'm gonna say this as a small story as an aside. My kid loves Bumblebee, right? Mm-hmm. The movie.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Loves that robot, and he's slowly getting hooked into like robots and Transformers, and I'm already looking at my pocketbook. I'm already looking at my bank account empty because there's so much more material out there, Right. And so as a diligent father, I tried to look up like, okay, so how do I start tracking everything? What makes the most sense? Because in our generation, Matteo, you're like a decade younger than us, so I don't know if you ever got into Transformers or not. But it was kind easy to track because
it wasn't really my thing though. So the robots were not a big thing for me, but I know them.
No.
Yeah, I had
but it's easier to track
toys.
because you had the one you had the one line of Transformers, you know? Mm-hmm. These days, geez Louise, man, there's so much, like, I don't know if that's the main one. I don't know if that's like the legend one. I don't know if that's, but Hasbro is just trying to make money hand over fist. So I understand why they've released everything. So my kid loves anything and everything Transformers, most specifically Bumblebee in the movies. And so he says, Dad, this Halloween, which is coming up, I want to be Bumblebee. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, you should be fucking Bumblebee, you know? But then he goes, but I want the Bumblebee with the costume that transforms. And I'm like, can't you just be fucking...
Oh, because so the one when you crouch down, pajamas? You become the car, and then you can... Oh, shit.
He saw that somehow, and I suspect it's probably from his mom's phone or whatever, you know? And now he wants that, right? And so I was like, oh, okay, I'll get it. You know, in my head, I'm like, oh, that's easy enough. Somebody out there offers it, right? And they do, but only up to a certain point. What I mean by that is like they offer you how to construct it.
Right.
Okay. So they give you like the instructions and the PDF and everything. And so I'm like, okay, let's make this fucking Bumblebee outfit, you know? And so for like 2 months ago, I started this project and I followed this thing to a T. Right?
Oh no.
And I built it and it's made for kids in Europe. Like it's made for regular size, like big, you know, pasta eating, you know, kids. Right. And because when I put it on my, like I put it on my child and it looks so sad on him, you know, it looks so like, you know what I mean? Like he's dragging this thing through the streets if I were to leave it on him as is. Right. And so I said, you know what, Cal? And again, this was me just over like, this is the same brain muscle that flexed in when I was younger, going like, no, I'll dunk a basketball someday. I'll just have to keep working at it. It's that same delusional, stupid brain that makes you go like, no, I can fucking do that. So this was 2 months ago. And so I said like, you know what? No, Cal, we'll make you one and I'm going to make it so much better than these stupid instructions, right? Fast forward to like right now. And again, now the clock is ticking, right? Because Halloween is coming up very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck do those instructions look like? You know, I just abandoned all ideas of like trying to do. And so I spent the better part of yesterday and the night before trying to measure this to my kid. You know, so that he'll have, number one, it can transform, and number two, it's not something he's dragging across the street when he's trying to go trick-or-treating. And I spent all day yesterday form fitting it onto him. Okay, Cal, now, you know, what do you call it? Do the transform version. Okay, now stand up and do the robot and blah, blah, blah. And it's just the outside shell. I haven't even done anything to make it look like the yellow car. It's just a card. I'm just doing a rough quote unquote sketch, a dry fitting of it in cardboard and like taping shit on it, retaping things on it. And it's fucking exhausting. And it just goes to like at one point I thought like, I must really love this stupid underweight, you know, kid. For me to be going through this much trouble. And so at some point in the afternoon, he's got to go take him. This is the first time in your
life in which you're realizing that this might be a hint that I love him. Before, this might be the thing. Yeah.
The
fact that I'm spending so much time building this shit for him.
I thought it was just like parental responsibility. Right? As I was taping the last thing down to make it fit on him, I'm like, maybe I do love this kid, you know? But it is this thing, to go back to your original question, at some point during the day, I was so irritable. You know, I was like, God damn it, I should just buy, well, this is America. Why can't we just buy this thing for this stupid kid? Why aren't you taller? Why aren't you bigger? Why aren't you 20 pounds heavier? You know, that kind of a thing. Like just a level of annoyance that my wife was like, are you all right? And I was like, why does he have to have this? You know, like, can't he just be Captain America like everybody else? It got to it was really daunting because again, this is just the cardboard version of this stupid costume. I'm now thinking of what it means to put paint and or put yellow contact paper and everything else to make this look like Bumblebee. Not the least of which I had to find a way for him to wear it. I haven't even thought about that yet, you know? And so my wife was like, I think you need to go back to your office and draw. And I was like, right. And so in the middle of their nap time, as tired as I was, I got back in here and just doodled on. I can't even remember what it was. It was bad too. You know, it was like, I was so annoyed. It was transferring into my experience of being able to just sit down and enjoy, putting pen to paper. But somewhere in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, it felt so good to be able to kick back and just like, I think there are very few people in the world who know what they're made for. Astronauts know when they're made to be astronauts, you know? People who invent shit know that they're meant to invent shit. And I know I'm made to draw. And so I know when I'm not drawing how irritable I can become, or I question the love for my children because I'm like, just go buy the fucking costume. Why do you have to have me make it? You know, this Bumblebee costume doesn't transform. All right. It just stays on your chest. You don't have to do any of this transformation shit. So to answer your question, yeah, nothing has helped to highlight more how much I love drawing. Then I have to draw every day. Nothing has helped to highlight
in order
more.
Not to kill my family tomorrow.
Since I had children. The moment I had children, nothing helped to highlight the fact that I love drawing and I need to draw every day. I don't know if it's the same for you guys.
Shawn, how about you?
I can go and I like to have periods of maybe a day or two where I don't draw. Like if I'm coming off of like a lot of work, I will like to go decompress without drawing for a couple of days, but then I feel
drawing. Holy shit.
And then I'll feel the itch to come back to it.
Right.
Like after a day or two. And then if I don't draw, I do get irritable. That does happen.
Yeah.
What about you, Matteo?
I don't need to draw at all. I like doing it, and I think that I'm good at it. But like, if you tell me tomorrow, okay, I'm gonna give you the same amount of money that you make monthly for 3 months straight, and you don't have to draw, I'm not gonna draw. Maybe here and there I might do a sketch just for fun, but I don't I don't need to.
If I got that, I'd be like, I can go draw what I want. Yeah.
And drawing makes me happy, don't get me wrong. And also if I have a bad day at work, meaning that I wasn't, the things that I had in my head are not, coming out the way I want them, I'm going to be grumpy at night with my family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because I care about what I do, but I don't feel, at least I don't think that I feel the need of, drawing. I don't feel the call when I'm not drawing. Like a few years ago, before having Aaliyah, we went for like 4 weeks away. We went to Vietnam, and I've never once for that month I felt the need of, I should be drawing now. I can feel it because if I know that I have a deadline and stuff like that, because I want to, because I want to deliver on time. But if I don't have that, I don't feel like I should, So I'm a bad person.
I don't know
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, listen. I now realized another component about this Mr. Freeze book as I'm looking at it.
Oh boy.
These are really shitty covers. I mean, they're awful.
Yeah, the covers were bad.
Oh my God. Never do like whatever, that feeling of elation or like that mode that you're in that you guys were talking about earlier.
Oh, you're talking about Matteo's cover?
Yeah. Matteo's Mr.
The other covers were abysmal.
I'm talking about Matteo's covers in specific. I don't know about the other covers.
I like that cover.
These were the ones.
I like Matteo's cover.
I can't stand him. These are the ones that were. Yeah. That's awful. So like, these are the ones that kept going onto social media when people would promote it, and I'd be like, I get it. I understand that it's like a reflection on his health. that it's supposed to be his helmet, but maybe it's also
if you're not
a snow
able
globe.
to see brilliancy when it's right in front of you, it's not my fault.
Here's
it's
the
not
thing.
your fault either.
Here's the thing, right? Here's what it does a disservice to what's inside the book. The book interiors are so fucking good, except for this one where he's sitting by the Christmas tree.
Stop!
Oh my god!
Stop, Jamie!
Oh my
Isolate
god!
that clip. That right there.
Oh
that
my
right there
god.
is the
Calm
promo.
down! Don't yell.
Eric Canetti saying,
Did you actually
that
say
what
that?
you call
Freeze
it.
is brilliant.
Fucking
He
great.
said
Black
it.
and white.
We have it.
Okay, don't lose context. Compared to the
don't backtrack. Don't backtrack.
Compared to the covers, the book is fucking
It's
great.
too late. It's too late. You can take it back. You can take it back.
Oh boy.
I look forward to when Aaliyah's about 6, and this is how he relates to his son by taunting him and teasing him.
Yeah, there's this shot of him there's a shot of him like walking into a sewer with there's a brick pattern on the ceiling. It's fucking great. Without any color, this looks amazing. There's stuff in here that you've already done.
Oh yeah, that one I was really happy
from-
with it because I used I managed to use the black and white properly the way I wanted the list. Yeah.
But then there's another one, I think, in that same sequence where he's inside that same tunnel where I'm like, oh, you've done, this is the same of the stuff that you've done previously. Similar to this one where it's like Bruce Wayne sitting next to a Christmas tree or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then there's the one where he's like driving a car down the street and it's all snow. And you're like, oh yeah, if you put color on that, it'll ruin it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, go back to what you were talking about. You don't like drawing if you don't have to.
Yeah, I don't have that need, I don't, again, it's not that I don't like doing it. If I start drawing, I like doing it because that's what I love doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't need to do it.
Yeah.
I don't feel the urge of doing it if I don't have to. I'll have plenty of other stuff that I can do, like watching porn or, the usual stuff.
There's this one where it's Batman and Robin, and I think it went for a good amount of money based on, I remember Jason telling me about it.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you know about it? Susan, Tim Sale's wife.
I remember that.
She bought it for Eric for his birthday.
Right on.
At Emerald City Comic Con, right?
Yep.
I don't like it.
Fuck you.
I'm just looking through the variant covers. They're just terrible. They're just really terrible.
You know what the funny thing is? Okay, one of the covers is by Jim Lee, and the other one is by our friend Cully Amner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Cully's in there. But like
Shawn
the
hates
Brian Bolin one, and Brian Bolin I love. This is just...
you know what the cover, what I didn't like is the fact that they used a different study that I did for Mr. Freeze, and they probably had given that to him, which one of the discarded ones. Oh. So that's why Mr. Freeze is, wearing a different outfit. It was an old design that I did. So they mess up. But,
Oh my gosh, when they colored that cover, oof. It was already bad enough as. Okay, the most successful cover of the set is the one where he has... shut up, video. The most successful cover of that set is the one where he's holding the snow globe.
Matteo's.
That's mine.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of them. Like, there's the one that Susan bought, which I thought like was noisy. But that in black and white, that's my favorite.
Okay, so now you like
it's
it.
Tunnel. Because I'm comparing it to everything else, dude.
Oh, again. Okay, that's all related too. Okay, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry. I get hung up on looking at grade.
It's really good compared to a piece of shit. If you have to eat
a piece of shit. Yeah, that's the context. Right. Listen,
so
it is to say it's things. It's this thing. It's stuff like this that keeps me wanting to draw. Conversations like we have, looking at new art, new-ish art, that I'm like, oh, I go into that analysis mode. And I think that's the reason why it compounds into, well, if that's inspiring me, right, in some capacity, whether it's through like actual inspiration or me critiquing, because I can't stand it when I go like, oh, that's a piece of shit, and I don't do anything about it. You know, like I don't do the next thing that makes me go like, well, what isn't a piece of shit, right? I think that's the reason why I'm compelled to draw moving forward. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anyway, yep, Shawn's right.
By the way, Shawn, this episode, let's remember this, is going to be called Does Eric Love Mr. Freeze? So that's the episode title.
Actually, that's a good one. That's a good one.
All right, it's time to end this episode before it gets even more out of control.
Great talking to you guys
later. Yeah,
it was great seeing you. And Shawn, I'll see you in a few days.